Funny. Now it's take. There we go. We're live, baby.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. We have Traci Willis here from Triple I Consulting. Very dynamic, power woman. We just met a few weeks ago, and it's just been amazing how we connected. So thank you for coming on board. Thank you for your time and efforts, Traci. Traci is the founder of Triple I, and it's more of the teaching, innovation, and learning that she'll take us through shortly on her journey, transition training, facilitation, I think, and then with the whole group of, you'll explain how it works with the ad tech schools and where you've come from on your journey with the Tournament of Minds, I think it is, yes. So it's very interesting that we came on board because it just speaks around what our masterminds are made of and where we're taking it and how we're using it and facilitating with it innovatively. Okay, so yeah, and I like to start off with a quote. So my quote for this podcast with Traci, and I called it, how we unpack entrepreneur challenges. How do you unpack entrepreneur challenges? So my quote for today is: mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is just true power. Because we feel that sometimes we have our fluctuations, and how we manage ourselves, our time, it's not the same every day. And then I'm going to ask you now, it's over to you, and you can help us define, how do you master the Triple I consulting and how you've come the way, you've come a long way, and, just to give us some breakdown on how you've landed on this.
Okay, and thanks, Eve. It's really exciting to be part of this and to be part of your podcasts. When we first spoke, and you're quite right, that energy between us of our journeys traveled is something, and my wish is that for women to realize how worthy they are, how much they've got to offer in all of this. And in response to your quote, and it's funny, I thought about it coming on, knowing that you're an advocate for women empowerment, is like, so what is that? And in my simple terminology, I actually put it down to belief in self. And I kind of go, we're in a society where we are led more to doubt ourselves than to actually believe in ourselves. And that in its own is almost like, if I can term it, a superpower. Because when you actually believe in your perspectives, believe in your opinion, believe in the knowledge you bring to the table, believe in the energy you have and the insights you have, you become so much more empowered. Because the reverse is kind of part of, I think, many of our journeys of compliance and control, and you have to stay in the box. And I'm not talking about someone being a rebel, and I'm not talking about someone refusing to do. I'm talking about the fact that each of us has so much to offer, but if we're not put in an environment that allows us to express that, to be that, and I'm going to use the word, to celebrate that, then a whole part of you as a human almost dies, and your light is out, and you know that your light has gone out. So it's about finding your light and finding an item at what makes your heart sing. What is it that makes your heart
Amazing
sing?
How you say celebrate us, because we don't do that often enough. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
And right. And yeah, just share with us, what were your challenges in the beginning, and what you've learned from them.
Yeah, and so, okay, so a little part of my journey is, I'm South African born and bred, and yes, I went down the road in the educational entity. I stepped into teaching, and through that journey, I was noticed by an overseas group who then seconded me to go and work overseas in Hong Kong for 10 years. And that journey over there was very much about, and again, I'm going to go back to empowerment and transformation. So that experience over there made me realize that there is so much we can do, and there's so much I want to do in transforming and in that zone, the educational sector of actually it's teaching and learning. What is this? What are we doing and why are we doing it? My dad was very ill at the time, so I was there for just over 10 years, but my dad was ill, and I knew innately it was time to come home and spend time with him. And on my return here, I was approached by the COO of the Advotech schools then, Alexis Akides, to come and work with the Advotech group, which is about 110 schools, and to bring and lead that conversation around transformation within the schools. And that transformation is not like a 360-degree flip of going, everything we do is wrong, and now you must do it this way. It was about actually what is the purpose and why do we need to consider this? And then the big one is how do we lead this change? And make no mistake, in life you are always going to have resistors. So do I sit here? I was working with over 3,000 adults at the time, trying to get their head set around what it is and how do we make this happen? Of course you're going to have resistors, but the whole thing is to keep believing in what it is.
Yes, absolutely agree.
And who are you doing this for, So my work inevitably ended up that it wasn't about, if I can term it, it wasn't directly one-on-one about the classroom. It was actually about the people leading the conversations in the schools, in the educational campuses, and then the practices that came with that as to what they were. So that has led me down this road where I spent a good 8 years between the Advotech group and then the Crawford group. There's a story to tell there. But I spent a good 8 years with that, leading that conversation. But ultimately, my return to South Africa, when I made the decision to come back, my mantra was, I just want to share the love. It doesn't matter whether it's private, or public. It doesn't matter. And I just share the love and help people transform what needs to be transformed. And that is kind of what I've come back to. So having traveled the journey with this big group of schools, having brought another part of the conversation, an international curriculum, which is unknown in South Africa. We've made global history in implementing it, which is far more open-minded than what a traditional curriculum is. But having done all of that, I had come full circle, because at the end of the day, it was a large portion of compliance. And you're going, if you're going to do what you've always done, you're going to get what you always got. So the only way that can affect that change is to actually step out and start creating this consultancy.
Yeah, and like what you continue,
Yeah. Okay. And that's how we ended up with the Triple I, and it's TIC for short, and how we've ended up in TIC. And I am loving it, because it is not a contained discussion to only this group of people may have access, only this group of people run conferences, workshops, or have me as a keynote speaker. It actually is about anybody, anyone who is willing to engage in this conversation. I'm in.
Yes.
I'm there.
Yeah. And then so tell us how do you encourage your the circle of people you are with? How do you encourage them to to be as passionate and energetic as you, because we have our days, and how you do that?
And I wish there was a magic way to do it. Listen, let's think about it. A person's energy, I mean, that was you and I connecting. Your energy resonates with energy, and your energy is going to hit spaces where there's a lot of negativity around you. But you know what? Go back to that innate, this is me, this is who I am, this is what makes my heart sing, and I'm giving it to you with all the love in the world, So make no mistake, I'm not one that's going to have 100% of people following. They're going to be going, oh my word,
it's like the quote you sent me the other day. We're not everyone's cup of tea.
Champagne bubbles.
Yes.
You know what I think a big thing is if you believe in what you're doing, I mean, it's exactly where you're at, and it's exactly what you're doing. You believe in the decisions you've made to exit corporate, to go independent. I'm going back to, I absolutely believe in what I'm doing. And I look at it and I'm going, we need this change to come about. We need this transformation to happen. And someone has got to start the conversation. And it's not a conversation of coming in and going, guys, this is what everything looks like. This is where the world is exponentially changing, because everyone's going, it's noise. It's noise.
Transition.
Yeah, what they want is show me how. And having traveled that journey overseas, one of the things that I was very fortunate to experience was working with, it's a group called the International Baccalaureate. It is currently seen as the top, and I'll call it a curriculum, but it's not. It's a framework in the world. So IBO.org. And I was selected as one of their global trainers. And in being one of their global trainers, part of the conversation always is, so what's relevant now? Not what was relevant when you and I were at school. What is relevant now? What is relevant for the kids of today? How are they different? How are they learning? How do we approach this? So having invested so much in understanding that, and with it sitting so deep within me around, I absolutely believe that even if it is a tiny step, we can start making a difference about making school, making learning, making the learning journey, whether you're adult or student, something that is more exciting. When you bring that to the table and show people how, you start getting a lot more response. It's not standing there and saying, you must do it. It's standing there and saying, we need to, because this is what's happening around us in the world, and let's walk this journey together. Here I am.
Great. Yeah. And I mean, some of the I think when you, in your websites, some of the needs, there was the example, maybe you could just unpack for us some of the examples of the needs analysis for these, for the kids, just give me an example, give us an example so the viewers could know what's a needs analysis. Because maybe there's a school out there that particularly wants to go and grasp on this.
And it's interesting. I mean, even the word and needs analysis, the one thing that we don't do enough of in an educational setting as a whole is actually listen to the student voice. Because when you actually stop and ask, and I'm going to call them our customers, because you know what? Our parents are the sponsors, the students are our customers. And when we look at what is school like for them, the stats from the World Economic Forum of recent, I was listening to a presentation from the School of Humanities in Dubai, and she quoted the stats from the World Economic Forum that 75% of kids globally do not want to go to school. They are bored out of their mind. So when you talk about a needs analysis, you're going, because if you're driving on just regurgitating content and just covering the curriculum and making them write a test where they regurgitate the information back at you again, of course it's boring, because A, they've either been exposed, but B, they look at it and go, either we know this, or why do we need to know this? And they're disinterested in what it is in relevance to them and in relevance to the world they're part of. So when I look at a needs, and that's where my triple I comes in, I'll come back to those three words, is actually it's about the relevance for the students and the excitement that we can create back in learning. So the big word over there is engagement. If our kids are not engaged and they're not interested, it doesn't matter what you do at school. I mean, yes, bring us ice cream, have fun days, whatever it is, but the actual teaching and learning is going to go nowhere. So the need is to actually understand how the teaching and learning looks, how the teaching and learning is relevant to the kids, and how does it engage them that actually they want to learn, they want to explore. And when you start looking at the access to information right now, you put ChatGPT out there, you put any of the AI tools out there.
Yeah. And it's not going to help them. It's not going to help them in the long
run. I mean, it sounds terrible. I mean, I thought about that from it, and I'm kind of going, because all you do is you research and you spit it back out again. So when you do a project research and you spit it, you're not actually leading to an understanding. So we've got a cycle of regurgitation. I must regurgitate the facts for the test to get the mark. the mark goes on the report. So what we're looking at is, where's the love of learning? Where is the relevance of learning? Where's the engagement in learning? Those are the needs we've got to be looking at. Yes, there are other broader academic needs. I get that. And there are academic barriers. But overall, for everybody, if they're not engaged and it's not relevant, they're not interested. That really is what it's about.
And on that point, on the needs analysis, you've been into these schools, and like what can you maybe unpack in terms of the real issues in the schools that's not transparent? Maybe one, share with us, because it's an insight right now to the parents listening.
Listen, let's take needs away and let's put challenges on the table and go, there are challenges, okay? One of the challenges, let's just put it down, is a heavy loaded curriculum. That there is this expectation that everything has to be covered. And if you haven't covered it, you've done a shocking job or you've not met criteria. Now, I'm not saying don't cover the curriculum, but there are different ways that one can cover the curriculum. So an overloaded curriculum that is just based on content alone, that's not transparent, and it's a heavy load for teachers. The other one is a complete reality globally. This is not about South Africa. This is the world. And that's why I love the global conversations and the global groups that I'm part of as an expert. This is an ongoing conversation. How do we change this up? How do we make a difference? How do we, if I can term it, lighten the load, but actually get deep on learning? How do we get to a depth of understanding? So the other one that is very, very common is the stress of time. Like, how much time do I have to teach X and Y and Z? And I've still got to do sport. And by the way, we've got to host a concert. And then we've got exams. And how many schools with their exams, the kids don't come to school, they stay at home, they only come in with exams. Time to cover this. So now you've got this overload of content that has got to be covered in a limited time. And what that all needs really is a rethink about, so how do we repackage this so that actually we can pull a number of, and I'm going to call it content relevant, but under a concept, entities together and actually study it together. Because one of the other things that is a challenge is the fact that schools still operate in silos, where you go off to your maths lesson, let's just say you're doing fractions, you leave there, you go to geography, which is doing soil erosion, you leave that lesson and you go to history, which is doing World War I, and then you head off to science, which is doing something completely different. And when you look at the world as the world is, the image I show people when I present, it's like having pots of paint. Here's the red paint and the green paint and the yellow paint and the blue, but they must all stay in their pot. Nobody must talk to each other. But when you think of life, you've taken all those pots and it's just a splattering of all these colors mixed together in life. And you're going, and that is where we need to start re-looking at how do we actually teach that we bring relevance to all of those being interconnected as best as possible, So those are challenges, and I don't know. It's a big conversation. It's not an easy conversation.
It's different schools. It's different education systems and schools.
It's a different approach. That's right. And when you're looking at it and going, in the main, people are going to judge on what they know. And so education as a whole right now, is still the same as it was many moons ago. And you look at it and you're going, we're still doing the same old, because it's what we know. But to change that up takes a lot of conversation, and it takes a lot of smart thinking. It's possible. It's not impossible. But there again, you kind of go back to time. So then I need to give my teachers time to actually recraft the blending of the curriculum so that actually we put things together that can be taught as blocks that are actually interconnected.
Okay. And then Thomas, so as your organization, what can you share with other entrepreneurs? What kind of challenges, what can they learn from that you've learned along your journey of Triple I? And what can you share with male or female entrepreneurs?
It's great of you. Okay, so and I'm loving the journey. Hey?
Yeah,
I love the celebrations. I love the hiccups.
yeah, yeah.
um, okay, so one of the first things you've got to be very, very clear on in this is actually what do you stand for? So for
Mm,
us to get to Triple I, which is the TIC, didn't come from nowhere. It was a lot of thinking that went into what is it that I actually stand for, that I actually want to share and make available to people across the learning entity. And it's 3 I's, and my 3 I's stood for insights. The first I was
mm,
understanding the client, the customer, the school that you're working with. What is the information that you currently have? Because that information has asked you to get hold of me so that we can have a conversation about what's not going well right now, or
yeah,
what's going well and how do we raise it to the next level. You have
yes.
got a number of insights into your institution or whatever it is. The next one then becomes innovation. So the second I is
Mm,
innovation. So together, myself with yourself as the customer or the client or the school, we then sit together and define and innovate where we're going to go with this. So what is it that your vision is? What is it where you want to go as a group? And how are we going to get there? So give me the dream. Give me the dream. You've told
yeah.
me there's a challenge. Give me the dream. And then the third one is innovation. So, the second one was
No,
inspiration, and the third
innovation and
innovation. Sorry, the inspiration is your dream. So,
inspiration.
into your data or your understanding, inspiration in the dream, and then innovation in how do we make it happen.
Yeah. How do
So,
you make it happen? Yeah.
and full understanding of what I stood for, I could then start crafting what it is I want to do. So that was really the first one. I think the second one, to say to anybody, this doesn't happen overnight. This is a dream that has been evolving over time. It's taken a lot of thinking to get to the point of defining who I am. And then it becomes so defining what you offer and defining where you want to go. Now, my
Mm,
original defining, and I think we're going to have another podcast on this, my
mm,
original definition was all around how do I empower schools? How do I
mm,
empower the transformation in schools? The knock-on of that that's actually happened is I've ended up
mm.
in corporate
Yes.
entities. What has happened is there is a huge identification of people not being able to think on the go. So their
Mm.
cognitive abilities, their thinking skills strategy is to be able to answer
Cognitive thinking.
challenges,
Yeah.
to think on their
Mm.
feet, to respond. Again, so that's in a corporate entity under
And
learning
that
and
all it's all mind, body, soul. So it's the part of your body that's actually not functioning. It affects the mind.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in corporate, I mean, what I was gathering is your learning and development people were handing out, links to videos, paperwork, study. And I'm going, guys, you're not going to get this right unless you actually let them do it. So what we've defined is we've actually got a training module that is made up of
Yeah.
5 different modules where we actually hands-on engage with people face to face and teach them different strategies that they can actually use when they're in the corporate context with their clients, how they can respond, how they can think through, how they can
So
survive.
so it's more like I've done something like this in my past, one of the organizations when I
Mm,
was in.
mm,
And I think it's more when you say the how part is so important to us because it's
correct.
how you react, how you respond. It's the mental coaching.
Yep.
It's the coaching where when somebody went for coaching and you can
Yep.
recognize and spot a person that didn't
Yep.
have coaching because you can see
Right.
the culture. The culture will
Correct.
will demonstrate,
Yep.
hey, okay, I can see Eve responds like this, and I see, okay,
Yep.
hey, the other person's response is a bit
Yep.
aggressive, and you'll definitely pick up the people that needs coaching or not. And I wonder how the organizations are identifying these employees right now, because it's also in the workplace, and I know we spoke about schools, but
Yep.
now that we're in the workplace, it's so
Yep.
important how we then have these conversations and engagements, because you can't have it with everyone. You get the introverts, the extroverts, and with work and dealing with clientele, it's you got to
Yep.
be now, hey, are you have the energy for this? and respond. So it's important to dig deep. We don't know the companies, but it's obviously your job to look for these organizations now and say, okay, you facilitate these coaching environment, and you can make it soft skills for them, and very for them to know in terms of grasping this. So I think that's the first point I would just get into.
So I'm going to come in there and just go, so I mean, first of all, the word soft skills has actually changed. So now they talk about human skills. So the conversation that came out of my journey with the corporates raising their concern was over the fact that there were contracts to be won. And in some instances, the contracts were not won because the people were not able to think on their feet and actually think through and respond to questions and challenges that were raised at the time. So that's where that kind of became, well, how can you ask people to do that if you haven't taught them actual core, skills training. A lot of, I mean, Harvard has put out a whole lot of strategies around thinking, and we're going, why would they do that? They would do it because there's a need, but we haven't actually done this, And then to go back to, so that was where that came out of, is why the question was asked, why are we losing these contracts? And it's because our people can't answer on the fly. They haven't been upskilled to actually respond, to think on the fly, to actually go and okay, well, then let's do something about it. But the other one, the soft skills, actually has removed, and they're going, it's now a human skill. To think is not a soft skill, it's a human skill, and it's imperative today because even with, and we were having this conversation on the weekend, you've got AI that can generate anything you wanted to generate, no matter, all right? It is phenomenal and I mean, amazing what has been brought to the table. But at the end of the day, whatever AI brings to the table, you still need the ability to be able to analyze and justify whether you agree, disagree, like, dislike, or use or not use what it has proposed. It is not,
it doesn't work. It doesn't work for every segment. It's specific. AI is specific to a brand, to an organization. It's not for everyone. It won't sit in.
I mean, we look at thinking and going, don't tell me that's a soft skill. That's a fundamental human skill that differentiates us from the, if I can term it, the technical, also say technology, digital, ability. You're going, you still have to be able to think this through. So it's fundamental. And while we've raised the focus of going, this needs to be embedded at schools, not just tokenistic done, actually it needs to be embedded in corporate. So I'm really excited about what we've developed for that, and that has become a new field that we're going to now be supporting as well, So going back to your original question, which was for entrepreneurs coming in and going, be very clear on your vision, be very clear and be very clear on what are your strengths. Don't try and dabble in a field that's not yours. So look at it and go, this is where I have strength, this is where, and passion, that's another one, where I have strength and I have passion and I have high interest, and go for it down there. It doesn't mean don't go and learn anything else. But know where your strength lies and leave the other pieces to those people who've got strength until such time as you've got your strength in those as well. But don't try and be, master of all. That it's going to get you in trouble,
So keeping up with the trends and keeping up with the trends and the markets, and I mean, we are South African market, and I know you do some global work as well. And where you see the III going to, because we are in a fast-paced moving world, and third world country, and we're moving. And I mean, I think organizations right now they're always looking to innovate. One of your pillars, innovate. Where you see III going, into the raising the bar.
So one of the beauties of TIC is, I mean, you are forever learning, and you forever, I mean, part of what I've done is there's a group called Magic Schools, and they've asked for pioneers and AI global trainers, and I'm one of those, and their product is continually evolving. So even last night, I sat looking at the latest that they've brought on board for the students and going, this is mind-blowing. But the fact that you're aware and the fact that you are moving with that is where you've got to be, where you're looking at this exponentially changing world, I find it super exciting. But every time that I see something that is exponential and something that is innovated or changing, my personal question goes back, so what is this? What's the conversation in the classroom that is empowering to be able to deal with it? So that's the one. But the other is, I'm going to put it down to being a lifelong learner. So if you're going to run a business, you are, my quote, you're as strong as your least open-minded person. Because the person who is not open-minded is the person who's going to bring barrier after barrier to that group or that business, that consultancy, ever evolving, because they're going to keep pulling you back. So you've got to look at your least open-minded person and say, how do I bring them on board to make them understand? Because people do fear change. Let's be honest. It's not an easy. I mean, I did my master's in that, and you're going again, a global phenomenon. But for you, if you want to remain relevant as a business, you've got to be not ahead of the curve, but aware. You've got to be constantly aware of what the changes are, of what's going on, because then you remain relevant. So when I look at my website, and the website was very cathartic because you had to work through and say, this is what I do, this is what I offer. When I look at it now and I'm going, I can already see a slight shift in one of my areas where I'm going, actually, I can do more of that, and that piece needs to, be updated, because
great. Yes, you will. You'll pick up. It's great because we're looking at trends and we're looking at insights every day. Where you get your creative mindset and your thinking is by looking at others and your competitors and what they are doing. And it's, okay, what different are you doing better than them? You got to look for the insights. It's always digging in, deeper on what difference can you make on the other side. So now, tell us now about your routine in the morning. We're going to go off the subject of just give me your routine so others can see, okay, I can learn something from Traci here in the morning.
No, Traci doesn't do the right things on that. Listen, we've just recently relocated to the most beautiful estate down in the Eastern Cape.
You're saying.
So I wake up every morning to this beautiful view. We've got, literally a jungle on the one side of our house where, there are animals that roam around, and then across the top, it's just beautiful sea, where you wake up.
So you're in the Cape? Which part of, which town?
So we would fly into East London, and then you've got to drive up the coast, and it's an area that...
It's not George. There's an airport in George. Is it there?
No, eastern side. And it's an area called the Wild Coast, and everybody associates the Wild Coast with KZN.
Yes, I know.
This side over here, but it is, the beaches are phenomenal. You can walk for 7 hours and just walk on white, pristine beaches. It's amazing.
Lovely.
But what
lovely, untouched. I love the untouched sand.
And honestly, I think maybe one of the things is every day that I wake up, there is incredible gratitude that, when you look back on your life paths and you look on the highs, the lows, the journeys you've traveled, the people who have loved you, you've loved, the people who've let you down, the people who've betrayed. At the end of the day, one of the things I wake up every day is actually just endless gratitude and going, look at where I'm living, look at the wisdom I hold because of the journey I've traveled, because that wisdom I can share with others when they are traveling on their journey. But what I do have, so I'm an early morning person. So the one is to get up and actually see the sunrise, because
yes, like me, we roosters. We roosters.
It's beautiful, and I just look at it and understand how incredible is this. Then the other is I'm a mother of 4 cats, so I am in demand early in the morning. So when I get up, the first thing I've got to do is I've got to get downstairs and I've got to make sure that they are fed, they are loved. The deck doors are open for them and they can go out. But all of that is kind of the essence of breathing in the day, and the essence of, and I'm almost going to go, exuding love, because these beautiful animals trust you, They
Yeah,
trust that you're going to feed them. They trust that you look after them. They trust that you love them. They know what you're going to do, and they revel in that, you know.
yeah, and they take all the negative energies in the home and they go out with it. So they've got the little
Yeah,
humps, in the back
yeah,
cat,
yeah,
and that's where it sits. Yeah. So
yeah,
they our tranquilizers. Yeah. So
yeah. That's it. That's two. So the one is gratitude, and then yeah, and for them, just that,
yeah.
trusting them back, and just trusting, that you've got a lot to give, and they've got a lot to give too. And then I think the third is connecting, and whether it's connecting with my hubby if he's up and he and I are not working, whether it is touching base with my friends, particularly friends that I know that are just going on a rough ride at the moment, who just need that SMS in the morning to just say, hi, I'm thinking of you. I'm not there, I'm not in Joburg anymore, but I can actually then connect with those people and just touch base and wish them well for the day.
Yes, yeah. No, that's so important of just reaching out to people.
Yeah.
You did your part. You do your part,
Yeah.
and whether you get a response or not, and you've done what your expectation
Yeah.
was for the day.
Yeah.
So tell
Yeah.
us who's your hero.
Oh, I haven't thought of that one. Now you caught me off guard. Wow. Deepest. I haven't thought that one through. I don't know. You know what? I don't know that I've got a single hero or heroine.
Oh, you have many.
Yeah, I know, but I kind of go. I think it goes back to an essence that I value very much, and it goes back to that whole thing of kindness and care. And you don't need to be a big somebody to be kind and to care and to just take note of others around you. So it doesn't matter if I see someone down at the village down the road helping out somebody who's in need. They are a hero to me. If it is someone who is, helping an animal in distress. I mean, we had an SMS going around on the group last night that there was this goat that was lost and had lost her little kid, her baby.
Shame.
And I'm just like, you're a hero to me.
Shame.
People would have driven past and not taken note of that. You've taken note, the lady who sent it, and you're trying to help and make a difference, So that's kind of where my people sit and where my admiration sits, is based on your actions and based on your behavior. And I'm very much a giver, and I mean, I will give whatever I can, and that includes in work. Where if you actually speak to people who've worked with me, they go, will you just please not send us another? Because whatever I can find, I will share. But it's important to me that people are kind. And I kind of even take it into the religious context of going, actually, irrelevant of religion, I look at it and I'm going, at heart, everybody is there to be kind, to care and to be kind.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
and
my
I
answer
like
to
that. I like that how you envisioned it. I like how that envisioned well, because every job is a job. Every person, you don't need a title. You respect works in all ways. So that's how you're saying you respect somebody that actually helps someone. So that's good. Tell me your most embarrassing moment. You got to share with us now. The moment.
No, definitely not.
You have to share with the viewers.
No, I'll have to think of when it's going to be. I think one of them that I will share is my hubby and I had gone off when I was living overseas. I wasn't married at the time, and he came with me. We went from Hong Kong, we flew into Singapore, and from Singapore we flew into Koh Samui. And this man had not learned to windsurf. He is the ultimate sportsman. He's represented South Africa in tennis and in indoor cricket and all the rest of it. So here I am now trying to show up myself and going, well, I can also do something, which is windsurf. So I was very proud of myself. And there I was going, I'm going to show him how to windsurf. Now, the one thing he's not good at is balance. But anyway, I'm now going to put him on this board. I'm going to stabilize the board, and I'm going to actually help him get on top of the board and, do his first windsurfing lesson. And blow me down. I get down to the beach, and what do? I picked the sail up because I now want to move the whole windsurfer into the water. And what I had done is I had picked the sail up on the side where the wind was blowing it and turn it across. So there I ended up smacked down on the sand with the entire windsurfer sail all over me. So for all this noise of wanting to show what I can do, here I am, humble as pie, lying under this thing because the wind, I'd gone the wrong way around and ended up on the sand. So yeah, in humble lessons we learn.
Okay, no, that's a bit tricky. That was a bit tricky. So would you have a cold shower?
No. Nope. Not at all. And
So-
it's really, no, it's interesting you say that, because one of the things on this estate that is a must do, because it's a new estate, is everybody has to build capacity to be off the grid. And it really is important, now when we look at what's going on around us. So you've got your own solar, you've got your own JoJo tanks. So you are self-sustainable should the need be. But with that comes a gas geyser. So now you've got the gas geyser heats the water up. So one of the showers in the house, it's too high from where the geysers, believe it or not, are actually below the house, not on top of the roof.
Yes.
So the water to move from the bottom to the top takes quite some doing. And then we've got, if I can term it, a mixer. So it's one of those with the hot and cold water coming together.
Yes. Yeah.
And you've got to turn it to like 7 o'clock, and then you get hot water. But there comes a point that if you don't turn it exactly to 7 o'clock, it actually peters out and it becomes very cold water. Not cool. Don't like it. So, yes.
So I've been asking.
But do I need to have one? Yes, I do.
Yeah, a lot of the motivational speakers, and I know the global ones, especially, one of the some of the leaders out there also have these cold showers mentally, and they say in the morning that just gives them a bit of a kick. And I just tried from a hot to a warm. Gradually, I turn off the tap and like, okay, that's just a minute.
I agree, girl. I agree.
And that's it. So tell us, this is the fun questions now where we're like excited. Now, if you have to be on an island, what is the one thing you will take to an island?
Music.
You have one item to take. What would you take?
Yeah, it would be music. I look at it and I'm going, I often ask people this question and I say to them, if there were two things in life you could never do without, what would they be? And inevitably the answer is coffee and chocolate, which is very interesting.
Water,
and
yeah.
I'm going, we'll make a plan with the water. But I look at it and I'm going, don't take my friends away and don't take my music away. So when I'm down and I'm just having whether it's a blue day or whatever, I said the one thing you will find, which is why I had to set myself up really well up here and tell everybody to turn everything off and kind of go, music. I love my music.
Yeah, and music is it's a soul. It's just the root to the soul. It just helps us groove and get us going for the day. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, that's amazing. So, and what is your the best part of your childhood growing up? I don't know, it's always a question where we have our moments, good moments, bad moments, traumas and all of that, but there's something that always takes us back.
Yeah, absolutely. So mine is I'm a bush baby through and through, and that is because my dad particularly, he was a bush baby. So the whole thing of being able to go away to game reserves, to lodges, we were eventually in a very privileged position of actually owning a game farm in the Tuli block in Botswana, which is real. I mean, when I say real Africa, there are no fences in between, the animals roam. But for me, those are my most incredible memories, because I'm kind of going, and that's why this estate that we live on.
It works for you.
Yes, because my hubby is for the sea and I'm the one who's in the bush, and we have got zebra, warthog, impala, nyala, just roaming around here. I mean, yesterday this beautiful kingfisher flew into my house by accident with 4 cats, if you remember.
Yeah.
So we had to abandon the
cats. And where were the cats?
They were sleeping. But he's got such a long beak that I think they didn't know what to do with him. But anyway, he just had
Yeah.
misjudged because it's these glass doors that open, and so he'd flown in thinking it was still part of outside,
Lovely.
Those are my
Lovely.
memories of
Lovely.
something I carry really deep. And so my birthday every year, my hubby knows I don't want things. Take me for an experience, and
Oh,
that
yes.
experience will be safari.
I agree. I agree. Nature, plants,
Yeah.
it's your
Yeah.
happy place.
Yeah,
And
no,
just
absolutely.
the last thing is your favorite food. What is your favorite food?
Uh,
Dish.
and we've had to have a bit of a rethink around food over here because Willis is not down the road, just by the way. But you know what? I mean, there are a couple of things, and like I've always been a complete sucker for fresh bread, a peanut butter bread, peanut butter sandwich.
Lovely.
Love that. Completely love that. When I go to sweets, I love jelly sweets, like anything. So jelly babies, jelly
Yeah.
all of that. But actually, I'm really fond of salads that have just got a lot of interesting things in it. So, I mean, a typical lettuce salad, but with lots of interesting things.
Fusion, mixed fusion Asian stuff. Great.
Interesting, the Asian, because on the
Yeah.
weekend we were away and we found an Asian restaurant, and I just said to my husband, I said, you know what?
Oh.
After 10 years in the East, in Southeast Asia, I'm going, gosh, I really wish there was a restaurant that could really do good Asian food. And we found one. I mean, the Vietnamese is my favorite, and the Shanghainese is
Lovely.
probably my other favorite. But we go and we found something that had a little bit of everything. And I'm going, oh, I think maybe I need to learn to cook this. That needs to be my little hobby, on the side.
Yeah, that would be. And you just hook me up, and I'll plug you in with recipes.
You will.
Yes, Traci, it was lovely having you. This was one of the best podcasts, I think. Yeah, actually, and we can't wait to get it out there. And I'm sure our viewers will be excited to know what you do. It's just the first one. I think we'll need to have a couple because there is a lot to share. But thank you for coming on board, and wishing you well. And I know that we chat often enough. We must just chat often enough.
We will.
Okay, and then maybe just leave your viewers with your social handles and where they can find you on your website.
All right. So my website, it's unusual because you've got this triple I, and we kind of go and we wanted everything unique. So the website is III-consulting.com. And then the Facebook is triple I Consulting, so triple dash I Consulting. And the Instagram is triple_III_consulting. So we've got those three going. And then, of course, I'm under my own name, which is Traci Willis on LinkedIn. So you can.
I know, perfect. I'll share with them as well.
I, by the way, TRACI. So not an E or a Y.
Great.
All right.
Great, Traci. We'll hook up soon, but have an awesome afternoon as well. Lovely. I don't want to cut the podcast, but we have to go. It's been amazing.
It's all good.
But thank you so much, and we're going to chat soon. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eve, and you have a great day your side.
Righto.